Okay, so before we begin, last night unfortunately there was an accident. My son's okay, Baruch Hashem. It was a swimming accident. A friend of my son, someone from a boy from his class, 8th grade boy from an American family here in the neighborhood, who fell in a pool and was very, very seriously injured. So the Divrei Torah today should be a schus for refuah for Yosef Shloima ben Sarah Nechama. And he should have a full Shloima Bakar. He's in very, very serious condition. You have to be marvelous schusim and tefillas. Okay. So we're holding a Siman Tov Mem Daled. That's Dini Erev Pesach Shabbos b'Shabbos. So this Siman is be'emes mistoif to a lot of different sugyas. Some of them are more bir chametz dik sugyas, and some of them get a little bit into achilas matzah, hilchos brachos. So we'll try to touch on some of the very basic nekudas in these sugyas, and what's halacha l'maisa, and zero. And then Pachas Yosef, we should be finishing up already by the end of the week next week. Course of this week and next week, Taf Mem Daled, a little bit of Taf Mem, then we're going to have a Chazara, a week of Chazara, and then we'll move on to Fias Matzah. Okay, so the Mishnah Daf Mem Tes tells us that Erev Pesach Shchayos B'Shabbos, Emes is Machlokes Tanoim, how and what exactly you're supposed to do with your chametz. The Derech Klal Erev Pesach, we take care of mitzvahs Tashbisu, we burn our chametz. We're Makai mitzvahs Tashbisu only Lefnei Zman Isser, Kedas Kamer Rishonim, like we spoke about many times in the past. But on Shabbos, which is Erev Pesach, obviously we can't perform Streifas Chametz, so the question is, what do you do with your Chametz? Now, we know that the Ikar Allah is like the Chachamim, Hashpasas B'chol Davar, so Be'emes, you can really be Makai mitzvahs Tashbisu, destroy your Chametz in many different ways. Before Zman Isser, you can eat it, throw it into the street, give it to the guy. Even after Zman Isser, meaning on Shabbos after Zman Isser, we do have the option, according to many Rishonim, of Mefar V'zer L'Ruach, at least B'di'evet, L'chatchila, according to some Rishonim, at that point it has to be straight. That's only according to Shita, Tana, Rebbe Yehuda. We pass Megadim like Chachamim, so it really can always be Mekayim, Mitzvahs B'yer Chametz, with Hashpasas B'chol Davar. So there's a big confusion exactly how do we pass. There's 3 Shitas in the Mishnah, Reb Meir, Chachamim, and then Reb Elazar Reb Tzaddik. And the Rif somehow thinks that the Shita of Reb Elazar Reb Tzaddik is like Reb Elazar Ish Bar Susa and Daf Yud Gimel, which creates a whole tumult in the Rishonim. And like the Ran already brings the end of the first parak, the Rabbeinu Ephraim, that without getting into the details, but to shtel to these 2 Shitas in Tanoim is a big teller, because it seems that if I care to talk to Rabbeinu Ephraim, there's really machlokes in these 2 Shitas, whether you burn your chulin Erev Shabbos or on Shabbos, and whether you burn your truma Erev Shabbos and on Shabbos. So the bottom line is that the Ran thinks, Lamaskana, that what the Rif means to say is that we paskin like these Tanoim, these 2 Tanoim of the same Shita, only Lagabe Truma. That you get rid of your truma before Shabbos, but the chulin you wait on Shabbos. You could do bir chametz on Shabbos. How do you do bir chametz on Shabbos? You eat what you want to eat for Yisud Shabbos, and the rest you're mefar v'zer, you throw it away, and you destroy it in other ways. And that's how the Ram learns the Rif. The Beis Yosef already says that can't be. That the Rif is saying halacha l'gabe truma when that's what's not negated as manazeh, what's negated as manazeh is only chulin. So the Beis Yosef says his mahalach b'das harif, and he be'emes shtims the Rif with shitas harambam and the Tur and the Rosh, ba'ofen. That what you find in Daf Yud Gimel, that Mashir and Beis Sudas, that Be'etzem you revire everything Erev Shabbos, side the Truma, side the Chulin, you just leave over the 2 Sudas which you need. So that is the Halacha Psuka, side of the Rambam and side of the Rif, that's the sheet of the Beis Yosef. And that's what the Beis Yosef brings in Shulchan Aruch, in Taf Mem Daled, Sif Aleph, that what you should do is, the proper procedure is that Thursday night already do B'dikas Chametz L'Ar HaNer, Friday day you burn your Chametz, in the regular time, so you shouldn't get confused with other years, and you leave over only what's necessary for 2 Sudas Shabbos. So even in this Shita, and B'das Mechaber, and leaving over 2 Sudas for Shabbos, that is even afilu bazeh yesh she'ela gedolah b'poiskim, and that's the chiddush of the Taz. The Taz himself goes a little bit into the lumdas of the 3 Shitas you find in the Mishnah Memtes, and he points out like this, that l'char l'fi Reb Meir, the first Shita, that you burn everything before Shabbos. What's the pshat? Because there's an isser to do bir chametz on Shabbos. Why would there be an isser? The Taz just says it like kilu tzadavar movement. Why would there be an isser bir chametz on Shabbos? Harei hashpasas b'chol davar. Akidei that's the Balmar's kasha. The Balmar frags that what's the problem bir chametz? Which isser is there on Shabbos? So he says that Shitas Rameir in the Mishnah goes aliba the Reb Yehuda that bir chametz is only b'sreifa. So memelo you can't do it on Shabbos. Then it's move on. So Imkain Rameir would not be la halacha. The emes is though that Rashi learns even in Shitas Reb Meir that you leave over 2 Sudas for Shabbos, and all the other beer you have to do Erev Shabbos. That Kipshuta is Shitas Rambam. That's Kipshuta. How the Shulchan Aruch is paskening along the lines of that Shita. So what Isser would there be if you hold that you have to leave over B'Tzimtzum? So the Taz says no. The Taz says Shitas Rav Meir is to leave over only B'Tzimtzum because you can't do any beer on Shabbos. Shitas Chachamim is leave over everything for Shabbos because that's Iker Zman beer. So if you hold there's no Isser beer on Shabbos, do all the beer on Shabbos. Be Mefar V'Zul Ruach. The whole Shabbos afternoon you can be Mefar V'Zul Ruach. And the third Shita, that's the Shita that we paskin, Rav Ishbar Susa and Rav Tzadik, that you burn the Truma Erev Shabbos and the Chulin you leave over Shtei Sudas B'Ravchus. Why would you leave over B'Ravchus? Because there's no Isser beer, so the thing that it's Negea that you might need on Shabbos you leave over. That's the Chulin that we eat. And we should dafka leave over B'Ravchus that the leftovers you could talk about Mekayim by Mitzvahs Beer Chametz. That's the Mechudesh Lekam Halach in the Taz. Now, it would come out, L'chor, that's what the Taz is trying to say, that he's going al derech, what he thinks is the Shita of the Rif and the Rambam, like al derech the basis that we pass in that Shita. So it will come out and see the Taz, that's something that we certainly don't practice, and that's not halach l'maisa, that we would leave extra, dafka to leave over extra, everyone's measuring a little piece of pita for each person at the Suda, Erev Shabbos, Erev Pesach, Shchal Shabbos. They're leaving over a little, when is the next time this happens? Did anyone check the calendar? When? Peyalef? That's pretty soon, 2 years. So everyone leaves over Mamish Bashir Tzimtzum, and not like the Taz that says that this Shita holds you should leave over B'Ravchas in order dafka to be Mekayim Mitzvahs Tashbisu. Now, the way our minig is like the Pashas Shulchan Aruch. Again, without the Taz Shtekol Torah, it's very difficult sugya how to figure out which Shita we're pasking in Tanoim. The Rif made things very confusing for us. But Kepshuta, Lefi Dagar Shal Beis Yosef, that's all. You leave over 2 Sudas Yisula, not al derech to dafka to leave over extra. And that's what we do. We Pachas Yosef try to not leave over any extra. We have the pirurim. That's we have to know how to deal with the little crumbs you have left over on the table, to put them on the floor, to sweep them out, to throw them in the toilet. Or if you b'mikra have what's left over, then we'll see that's the Rambam already has a whole discussion what to do if you have a ma'isa leftover piece of challah. What do you do with that piece of challah? But meikar adin, we don't try lechatchila. We do not paskin like this Taz to try dafka to leave over to beer chametz. Ad kedei kach that we know b'shar shonim, not erev Pesach Shabbos. So what do? We dafka leave over a little bit of chametz to be mekayim mitzvah seifa. Right? After beer b'dikas chametz, the chametz that you find, you theoretically could eat it. And then you could be mavatal the chametz she'eni yadua, and by day you don't necessarily, there's no chiyav gomer to do it. So our minig is to try to mekayim mitzvahs beer chametz, lefi shitas Rabbi Yehuda, lefi shitas Rashi, that we're trying to mekayim mitzvahs seifa. So we dafka leave over a piece of chametz. Akidei kach, that we found in Rishonim, some of them waited even to Zman Isser, because they held the mitzvah seifa is only lachas Zman Isurah. So one would think that at least b'Shabbos, b'Shana Zu, we should maybe leave over a kazayas. Everyone should finish, but the Baal Abbas should leave over one piece. And that one piece they should go and go out the window, be mafar, b'kayim mitzvah tashbisu, ki harei. We burn the chametz on Yud Gimel in this type of a year. But that burning it's a kiyum. We saw the Fishitas Rashi, according to one side of Rashi, that you can even b'kayim mitzvah shefes chametz from Lamed Yom Kodesh. But that's a chiddush of Rashi, and even in Rashi it's a shayla, like we saw in the Rishonim what the pshat in Rashi is. According to many Rishonim, the mitzvah's tashbis only begins on Yom Yadal Bisan. So why would we not want to try to chaperayim to a little bit of a tashbisu and leave over a piece? But you see, that's not the minig. And Mistabah is because of chashash takala, that we know it's very difficult, especially the house is clean. You don't want bread flying around everywhere. So we'll see. For that reason, there were some poskim who held, and they were minhagim not to have any chametz on Shabbos. But the Maisa even the female Hagenu that we have chametz, so it was never nishtar v'minig to dafka leave a piece from b'fire zalurch kiarei. Shitas Rashi we were mekayim ready on Yud Gimel. So to chap another shita that alidei b'fire zalurch you kayim it's tashbisu. L'chayr just on the cheshbon that what's going to cost you that you can have chashos first of all of different malachas of muktzah and of toichin and of zoyre and of hoitzah, all these different kinds of malachas that we saw in Taf Mevav. Magen Avraham pointed out. So even though we can get around all these problems, stama mehai taima. The minig is always to leave over b'tzimtzum, try to leave it as little possible, and the crumbs we flush down the toilet. The eating?
The crumbs.
So is there a chiv tashbisu on less than a kazayis? That's one shiloh. And again, it could be that you'd have to throw it in the toilet. But mashen kain if you just sweep it out. The emes is the poskim say the crumbs you don't have to do anything. Just leave it on the floor.
When you say Shitas Rashi, you mean dafka in this case?
Shitas Rashi or Makayim on Yud Gimel. Streifa on Yud Gimel is only Shitas Rashi.
But it's because in this year that it comes out like that, or every year?
Well, every year, but Emes is every year we're also only Makayim Shitas Rashi and Streifa, because only Rashi holds Streifa is before his Manisr that you Makayim Mitzvah Tashbisu. I'm just saying here would be hashpasas b'chol davar, koydin zman isurah. So that's a question.
Is there an inside, just like the B'dikas chametz went back a day?
The mitzvah tashbisu daraisa doesn't go back a day. No, there's no pasuk in the Torah that changes mitzvah tashbisu. If you hold that the kiyum is tashbisu, ach b'yom harishon tashbisu b'teichem, that mitzvah changes at chatzois from mitzvah kiyumis to chiyuvis. We discussed barichas and we'll love this, but l'chara that we can't. According to the Shem, it only starts in Yudal. L'chara you can't be maked in the mitzvah because of a. Fine. So that's our minhag we leave over. And the emes is, that's what it sounds like from the Rambam, not like the Taz, which is very interesting. The Taz is not neichus there, because the Rambam is Sifhei and Shulchan Aruch. But the Rambam says that you leave over 2 sudas, and the Rambam says, and if you have left over, so then you deal with it. So mashma, you shouldn't lechatchila leave over. You should do everything but tzimtzum. Now the Pella is Sifhei. If everyone got the Sifhei already, it's mamash Pella. That's the Shittas Rambam, which is just paskin Shulchan Aruch with no explanation. That if you have leftover chametz in Shah Revius, you finish. Let's say you finish the end of Shah Revius, that's the end of Zman Achilas. You go into Shah Chamishas. Shah Chamishas, you're not allowed to eat chametz anymore. It's mutar b'hana. Says the Rambam, so what should you do now? Koifel of kli. So frekt all the achronim, karchaim, kivei, all the achronim. What's the Rambam's koifel of kli? So I should have shailas of. Now the Rambam says mevatlei, bittul will get you out of bayirah. But like we know, we're not samech on bittul. That's the, all the last couple of months of the first 5 sugyas in Pesachim that you're not samech on bittul l'chatchila. It's chashash b'yirah. So why would the Rambam say to be samech on kiyas kli? Why not just eat it, or give it to a guy, or give it to an animal, or get rid of it, or burn it, or not burn it in the fire or zayra? So Akiva asked that on the page. A lot of Acharim asked that question and say tzarchin. So the poskim have no answer to this question. So they just are matchik in the Rambam, and that's what the Mishnah Berurah brings from the Magen Avraham, Taz, Graz, Karchaim, that if the Rambam's talking that there was no Erev, so you can't throw it out of the house. And the Rambam's talking there was no dogs, you can't feed the dog. And the Rambam's talking there was no guy, so you couldn't give to the guy. And you make all kinds of kimtas, it's it's a big tzarachin, and that's what Akiva I think is pointing out, without offering any of these tchukim, just says tzarachin. I don't know why you can't just, and there's no Eser Tiltal. The idea of Kriyas Kli comes from Gemara on Davav, that if you find chametz on Pesach, then it's also betiltal. So then we have a problem. What are you supposed to do with such chametz? But before it's man heter. So maybe if there's no goyim or dogs around, then it applies muksa and you can't move it. Ma'aseh tzarchi. And the emes is the pashtus mashmaos divrei Rambam is al derech somehow al derech, like the Baal Ma'or says, that the Baal Ma'or says b'shitas Rav, the Tanur of Meir, that the reason you do bir chametz before Pesach is because before Shabbos is because bir chametz is asur on Shabbos. So the Baal Ma'or says, what does it mean to Tasar on Shabbos? So Vaistois is going Shitas Reb Yehuda Sreifa. The Rambam does not hold like Shitas Reb Yehuda. The Rambam holds Hashpasas B'chol Davar. So what could theoretically be the Isser? So I don't know. Neither did Akiva Tzarachin. But Lamaisa, we do find that the Noid Yehuda we mentioned a few times in the Archaim Kamet Tesvav, that the Noid Yehuda has a steer in Rashi, Kaviyah. And Rashi in Beitzah says that Tzrich Kachim on Shabbos Yontiv is Aser. So Rashi says that Tuadin, you're not allowed to throw it to a kelev. The kelev can eat it. You're not violating one of the Lamed Tesmachas. Achshavei Rachmana Lahavarosan. Since there's a mitzvah to be sorry of Tzrich Kachim, so Mela, there's an Achshavei that gives it a Shem Malacha by feeding it to a dog. So Frekna Yehuda Hakam on Daf Hey, Daf Hey Pesachim, Rashi says that feeding an animal, a dog, your chametz is not a problem. It's Kiyam Mitzvah Tashbisu. So why is it not a problem of Achshavei Rachmana Lahavarosan, that it's a mitzvah male, it should be also on Shabbos, not Malacha. So the Rebbe Yehuda says, and that got us into the whole Chakira of Kiyam Mitzvah Tashbisu, if it's a mitzvah Kiyumis or Chiyuvis, that the pshat is that if you say that on Pesach the whole mitzvah is just is to get rid of your Bal Yirah, to not have chametz, it's really more of like a mitzvah that's shmili, to make sure you don't have it. That's what got us into the Reb Chaim's Chakira, Reb Chaim's Kash in the Rambam. Al Kopanim, l'chayr the kivun would be that the Rambam held, maybe b'deraisa, maybe b'derabanan, yesh l'ayim b'zeh, but that kiyum mitzvahs tashbisu, al yedei bir chametz min ha'olam, destroying it, is somehow achshavei rachmana l'malacha, either b'deraisa or maybe even b'derabanan. I mean, the Rambam's not clear. The Rambam says, klar, if you get to shach hamishis, you have to be koyf kli. Let's say I'm in shach shlishis, I'm by zman heter chametz. Could I then be Zaira? I can certainly eat, but eating is not a key of Tashbisu, because that's Derech Achila. Taisa says that Derech Achila is not Tashbisu. Could I destroy Chametz earlier in the day? So it's not clear in the Rambam. Maybe not. And maybe the whole day that there's a key of Mitzvah Tashbisu, there's an Isser to be Bakaya Mitzvahs, to do Bir Chametz on your Dalid, because Achshavei Rachmana. And maybe it's an Isser Derabanan, that means Man Isser Chametz, so you're not allowed to do the Bir Chametz. Yesh L'ayim Bazeh. B'chol if it's a big Tzarachin. And that's the poskim rightfully are asking, the poskim are all obviously rightfully being madchik in this Rambam, that why in the time that still had the chametz, you're better allowed to eat the chametz. They can't imagine why you're not feed it to the dog. So they say in the Chanami, there's no dogs around. I'm just pointing out that we already saw a kivun like this in some achronim and rishonim, that it could be this takanaf gemina. And eating chametz is eating chametz. Obviously you're allowed to eat chametz on Pesach, on Shabbos, Erev Pesach, before Zman Isser. But to be mekayim tashbisu, we already see there's such a musik that maybe achshav rechmana, there could be a chash isser derabanan deraisa, and that would be a kibun in the Rambam. It would be an afkamina, meaning halacha l'maisa, we are mekayim tashbisu. If what I'm saying is true in the Rambam, then there would be a tzad not to do bir chametz, to dafka not to, because it'd be chash isser. So halacha l'maisa, it seems kedivrei kol hapoiskim that if you have any opportunity to do a beer on Shabbos, you do it. You put it in the toilet, flush the toilet. It's mafar b'zor liyam. And you're mekayim it's tashbisu. It's archi in choloy from das Rambam. Okay, so that is legabe mitzvahs bir chametz. That's the ikr sugyas hashas the Mishnah Gemara legabe erev Pesach shachal yois b'Shabbos. How to perform and what to do with your chulin, what to do with your truma to get rid of it erev Shabbos or on Shabbos. We saved with the sheer mitzumtzum, and we try not to leave it. Whatever's left over, we are mekayim mitzvahs havara. Either al yedit, well, certainly you can give it to a dog or an animal before Zman Isser. Then we perform a bittul chametz. We say the bittul, and if you have any leftover, you don't want to give it, you can flush it down the toilet. That's like we saw from Mishnah Berurah, Taf Mem Hey, Taf Mem Vav. That's a kiyum mamish of havarasim in oilam. It's not sreifa, but it's a kiyum of mitzvah of havara mamish of hashpasas b'chalav. So that's mitzad the etzem sugya. L'maisa meduyik, the lashon that we paskin of Rabbi Lazar's Prasusa is mashirim mazon shtei sudas. So from there already the Rishonim point out that, as we all know, on Shabbos there's a mitzvah to have 3 sudas, not 2 sudas. So why mashir mazon shtei sudas? What happened to the Heilig Shal Shudas? So the Rishonim will point out that Shal Shudas presents us with a problem. Because we have Friday night, Zman Heter Achilas Chametz. We have Shabbos morning, you can still eat Chametz. But Zman Shal Shudas Kipshutoi, that's what the Rishonim say, the Tur and Reish Tzaddik Aleph Shabbos. Zman mitzvahs Mitzvahs Shal Shudas is after Mincha, it's after Chatzos Hayom. After Chatzos Hayom we have a problem. Because Mamashach, you can't eat Chametz, because it's a derice to eat Chametz, according to most Shitas. Right, the Baal Ma'or and Daf Chav Ches passed is like Shitas of Shimon, that it's only that there's no Isser Achilas Chametz, and he learns B'Shitas of Shimon. Balmar is Das Yachid learns B'Shitas of Shimon that there's no Isser Achilas Chametz. That Achilas Chametz Erev Pesach is Taka Kivas Tashbisu, and it's Taka Motor to eat Chametz at that point. That's a Das Yachid. The Shar Kol Rishonim, there's an Isser Fear of Shimon Derabbanan. We pass in Tafim Gimel that there's an Isser Dereses. It's Isser Dereses to eat Chametz, so no Chametz after for Shal Shudas. Elama Aisu eat Matzah. Matzah's Motor all year round. So in Tafayin Aleph, the Torah brings, that's Yerushalmi. It's not brought anywhere in Bavli, but Yerushalmi says, now that it is an Isser Derabanan to eat matzah on Erev Pesach, that's Kavoy L'Rusasus Beis Chamav. Since we're almost now getting up to Chag Pesach, and that's when there's going to be a mitzvah, the pashtus of the Issers that you want to eat it mamish l'tei avoin, it should be mamish for the mitzvah. So to start already Erev Pesach, is some kind of a zilzal, it's Kavoy L'Rusasus Beis Chamav, male is an Isser. So we're stuck. You can't eat matzah, and you can't eat chametz. So then we have a problem being Mekayim mitzvahs sudash lishas. So Kayodua and Reish Tzaddik Aleph, there's a lot of different shitas how to be Mekayim mitzvahs sudash lishas. Yesh Armin, that's dafka b'pas. Yesh Armin could be with Heimin Dagon, even Mezainis. Mezainis also is going to present the problem, as we'll see. And then there are shitas that you can Mekayim also with other things, meaning Targima, like Paris and Basar v'Dagin. So what does Shulchan Aruch say? So Shulchan Aruch says that this year there's a problem. You can't have anything for Shal Shudas. So what should you use? Matzah shira. You should use matzah shira. Matzah shira is matzah thing which we made Paris. So there's no problem of chametz, according to the Mechaber. There's no chash chametz because we made Paris and not machmetz. So there's no problem of eating matzah erev Pesach, because matzah erev Pesach is only that same matzah you can be yotzi with. Can't be yotzi with matzah shira. So the male, this is an in-between type of a pass, so you can eat it until Shah Asiros, that's the beginning of Erev Pesach. You can't eat, after Shah Asiros, you can't eat any Heimin Yadagan. That would be the in-between thing that's not Chametz, but it's also not Matzah Haru'uya L'Kayim by a mitzvah. So that's Mechaber's recommendation. The Rama already points out that the minig Ashkenazim is not to have matzah shira, at least on Pesach, because we're choishish for some Rishonim that it is takach shash chametz, that maybe pairs could be machmitz, and maybe we don't have matzah shira, except for cholim or whatever. So the Rama says, what should you do? You should have basar v'dagim be samich on that shita, but less bread. So that's the two things you find in Shulchan Aruch: matzah shira according to the Mechaber, and basar v'dagim peiros according to the Rama. But the emphasis is there's a lot of other suggestions in the Rishonim, interesting suggestions in the Rishonim, and different shitas. And the Magen Avraham already brings from the Zohar that Shimon Bar Yochai, on the Zohar is talking about Erev Pesach Chayos B'Shabbos, and the Zohar says that Shimon Bar Yochai had this problem. Erev Pesach Chayos B'Shabbos can't have pas. The Zohar holds that you have to have pas. It's a Likuva. The Noyegim Alpi, the Zohar Ben Ishchai holds some Sfardim or Noyeg like that. That even if you miss, let's say in Shalosh Shudas, you have to go back because the Shita Zohar it's a Chiyuv Gomer to have pas. You know, there's different minhagim about that amongst the Sfardim. Alpi Nigla, it's not Ma'akev to have pas, so we're not Chayzer, I would say. Al Kapanim, so it's state in Zohar, and then Magen Avraham brings it, very surprisingly, that Shimon Bar Yochai, he learned Torah. He was Isaac B'Torah B'Makom Suda Shlishis. So in Mela, that's one Eitzah, to be Isaac B'Torah. Some later place can point out, how do we know which Torah? It says over there in the Zohar, Ma'aseh Merkava. It was Isaac Ma'aseh Merkava. So I don't know if everyone knows how to be Isaac Ma'aseh Merkava. And I saw some bring that if you look in the Zohar, it sounds like he was Eirich Shulchana. He drank some wine, so there was wine. He's Eirich Shulchana. So how did Mekayim with
wine could also work for a Suda.
Yeah, Stam is like it works. Maybe it's off the wine. It's not clear. It's not clear in the Zohar. I certainly can't explain it. Not everyone here is 40. What?
That should be a good Eitzah also. That should be a better Eitzah.
Stam, drink wine.
Yeah.
Yes, so there's a problem drinking wine after Pesach. So you have to drink a lot of wine. No Stam, because it's meat regard. So you have to drink a lot of wine. Say there 2 cups, not 1 cup. Fine. So the Aruch HaShulchan just says a very simple thing. Now, I don't know, I'm still the Aruch HaShulchan knew the Pshat in the Zohar. So the Aruch HaShulchan says that the Zohar just means it's going with the sheet that you need pas. So what happens Erev Pesach Chayos B'Shabbos? There's no Shal Shudas. Finished. Gone. Just like on Yom Kippur, there's no Shal Shudas. And I don't know what Rashbi did on Yom Kippur, Chayos B'Shabbos. I also learned there. But so there's no Shal Shudas. So the Aruch HaShulchan says it just means like that he did what he could, so he learned the inyanim in Torah that are connected with shal shudas. But the emes, it's going with a tzad that there is no shal shudas. And the emes is kach b'vur b'kam rishon. The Meiri and Daf Gimel by the din of Velazar Shmarsus just says that this year there's no shal shudas. We need pas. You can't be kind pas. So finished, done. And according to that shita be'etzem, if you emes hold like the shita, you need pas. So there'd be no Indian per se to go eat peiros and basar and dagim. Stop. If there's no shal shudas, it's nidchet. That's like Yom Kippur. So finished. So that's really what this shita implies. And that is, that's the sheet of the Meiri.
And Seder becomes Malav Matzah?
Yeah, the Zohar is bothered by that. Like, for some reason, it sounds like from the Zohar you can't do that. I told you that. I don't know. The Zohar is mashma that Rashbi had a problem with making Lel HaSeder Malav Matzah. Some kind of steer.
You have the same problem with Yontif on Motzei Shabbos?
Yontif of Motzei Shabbos. Yeah, maybe.
Anytime you have a
Check the Zohar. Okay. So that's one possibility, is just not to have Shal Shudas. And Lafizeh, so obviously the Mechaber found a better Eitzah than that, Matzah Shira. Why does Zohar not have the Eitzah Matzah Shira? So we'll see, different problems, Matzah Shira. And the Ramah is saying yes to be Machmer, because there are other Shitas you can be Yotzei Shal Shudas with lower darga of food, with Basar V'Dagim, so you should be Yotzei at least with that, Heicha de Efsher. Like it says in Reish Tzad Aleph in Sefei over there that Chatchila we should try to use pas for Shal Shudas, but not. You can go down the ladder to use different things, whatever's possible. So it says there, B'chiyah Gavna, you can be Yotzei with pairs, and we also have this sheet of the Meiri and maybe the Zohar that there's Bemis no Chiv. Okay, so the Magen Avraham already quotes from Mordechai and Bach a different Eitzah. And that is that we have Lamaisa, even if you need pas. So we have Lamaisa until Shach HaMisha, so you're allowed to eat chametz in the morning of Erev Pesach. So that's how we have Suda Rishon of Shabbos. So take that Suda Rishon, have half of the Suda, stop, wash, bench, and then wash again, and then you split up the Suda into 2 Sudas, and then Shalom so then you have yourself 3 Sudas of Shabbos. So the reason why that's not an Eitzah, this suggestion already is brought in Tosfos and Shabbos and Daf Kuf Yud Ches. he brings this idea of splitting up the Suda to make a double Suda. He's not speaking specifically about it, he's speaking also about Erev Pesach Chayos Shabbos, but in general, if someone wants to split up the meal, just bench, wash, bench. Again, chap right in two Sudas. So Tosfos says, first of all, you can't do it in the morning, because it's not Zman Suda Shlishis. Before Mincha, it's not the Zman. So that's a Shiloh, but Tosfos is saying it's not the Zman, that's why that's a mistake. And Tosfos says, B'chlal, you can't stam wash and bench and wash, just l'tzarech to chap right in a Suda Shlishis, it's the Brach Shin Tzricha, it's also the last came because of Brach Shin Tzricha. So, mitzad the Brach Shin Tzricha, the emes is in Reish Tadik Aleph, so the place can bring there, that's the Rosh has the Chuvas HaRosh, it's put on the Torah over there, that we're saying on the sheet is that for the tzarech of being Mekayim, it's just to the Shlishas, you're allowed to split up your meal, you're allowed to bench and wash again and split it up. The place can say you should try to make a hefsek, a half hour, walk around something, so then it makes it a little bit more like a tzura, that's two separate tzuras, so you don't have a problem of Brach Shin Tzricha. Well, the Maisa, the Mechaber says you could split up a meal. Now, what the Mechaber does not say is that you can do it all in the morning before Chatzos. The Mechaber is talking, there's a Shiloh over there, if your Suda gets until midday, and you keep going, you're not going to be Master Chal, so split it up, that's the Shiloh. But to split it up in the morning, the Mechaber seems to have that's not an Eitzah. And that's like Tosfos says, that's not this amount of Suda Shlishis. So that's why, not in the Mechaber, not in the Ramah, this is not an Eitzah splitting up in the morning. So where does it yes come from? The Magen Avraham. The Magen Avraham brings here from Mordechai, and the Bach brings that Mordechai and Kolboy, that there's yes a possibility of Mekayim Suda Shlishis in the morning. We don't have any Meforish Xeris HaKosiv, the Gimel Sudas B'Shabbos, Hayom, there's three drashos, so it is after all Hayom, it is by day. And theoretically, possibly, you could be Mekayim even in the morning. So for that reason, the Magen Avraham quotes this idea of yes splitting up the Suda. And the Mishnah Brura quotes it from the Goin over here. After going through the different possibilities, he says, V'chein Iker is this Eitzah, to split up the Suda. And that's nohag by a lot of people, not everyone. And that's the Magen Avraham and the Goin, and that's the Nati of the Mishnah Brura. So,
how did you learn the Gam of the Magen Avraham? It starts off like, Gam B'Shach is
because I think he means to say is that follow what the Shulchan Aruch says, which is to have matzah shira or peiros in the afternoon.
He's not on that, yeah? He's
not
before
on
that.
Yeah. U'mishayrin.
He's on Mishayrin, and then later on...
I hear. So I understood the Gam means, meaning don't rely, and that's what the Mishnah Brura says, don't rely exclusively on splitting up the Suda, because Kipshuta you're not Yotzei. Not Yotzei of Suda Shlishis. You have to eat in the afternoon. What do you eat in the afternoon? It's Ashira or Peiros V'Dogim, Bas V'Dogim. So you should be Yotzei Zayin. So L'chayra, that's the Eitzah. So
someone the Magen says Yeshem Yotzei B'Zeh Kilo.
Yeshua?
Yeshem the Yotzei B'Zeh. I'm saying everyone holds of Peiros and Dogim and Basa.
Right, that's his point.
So why you have to do this also?
No, not everyone holds a Peiros Dogim. No, there's a starker tzad. They're not Yotzei with Peiros Dogim. So we're saying it's a tzad you just in malasot. So since there's a tzad,
no one holds this tzad.
No, well, the Mordechai. That's
yeah,
what I'm saying. There is a tzad that you're only yotzi with this l'chayr, because if you need pas, it's the only way to eat pas. So eat the pas in the morning, and in the afternoon have some basar v'dogim should be yotzi in that shita. Now,
even the Mordechai holds a Peiros and basar v'dogim.
What, to be yotzi then?
Yeah, I'm saying so.
Why do you say that? No? You said I'm saying that's a big machlok Rishonim. There's some Rishonim that say no, if you eat pears, now you're wasting your time. You're not being yotzi. So to be chosh, both shitas. Now, do you have what to lose by splitting up the meal in the morning and then eating pears in the afternoon? Potentially you do. In the Iri already over there in Daf Gimel, he mentions this eitzah of splitting up the meal, and I don't have a lush in front of me. He's very against this eitzah. He thinks that it's a mina garua. He says ina seichel savaltoi. It doesn't sound like it's not a normal thing to do. So chutz from the problems of brach shein tzricha, which we could take care of a little bit by breaking up the suda. Depends how much you break it up for. If it's 5 minutes, 20. If you split it up for 40 minutes, obviously. But somewhat in the Iri means what I saw in some tshuvas, that's Chaim Falaji and Leiv Chaim, what the Marmak and Chelik Beisim Peches, that Bechlal, it makes two very shrach sudas. It's difficult for people to get up and sit down, and get up and sit down, and it ends up being that the first suda, which is supposed to be really sudas him, if we're going in order, the suda shnia, first one in the morning. So that's the Iker Sudas Yom. That's Yikr Yom is supposed to be the most chashuv Suda. M's being a very not chashuv Suda. You just have the fish, and then you bench, and then the Iker thing is Shal Shudas, supposed to be the Tafel. So that Tosfos says we have a raya. Tosfos says there's no raya against this shita. Tosfos in Kufir Ches, from the fact that it says Mazon Shtei Sudas. It's a raya, not like this shita to split up to 3 Sudas, because the Gemara says you only save Mazon Shtei Sudas. So Tosfos says it's not a raya because Lamais you're eating it all in the morning. And you're like splitting it up. It's kain one meal, so it's called all one big sudas shachar. So it's called 2 sudas. It's 2 sudas, makam and 3rd sudas. So the Meiri says that's he hanei senes. When you have 2 sudas, when you have turned one suda into two by just spalting it up and making two shvach chasudas, that's not like a normal thing to do. And in Chaim Pelagi, so their minig, I don't know where he was, Chaim Pelagi, understand? Some Eastern country. So he says that their minig was, we'll get to that, was to eat matzah shira the whole Shabbos. And he said we eat like a mensch, normal. We're not sitting out with the chickens in the chatzer next to the chicken coop where it's. But halavai, we're not mevatel mitzvahs benching next to the tzoya out there. Sit on the table. We have machole Shabbos normal, hot machole Shabbos like the place. The whole hemshech chasif, you have to cook like this, not sticky foods. So he said a Pesach Dika Shabbos with matzah shira and so much. They were meko like the mechaber to even have matzah shira after zman Esrei Chametz, which the Ashkenazim can't do. Okay.
Are you allowed to split up your meal with like using my Pesach pots and everything, but yet have bread? I
think that's what most people do.
Oh yeah.
Most people don't have chametz pots out. I mean, the place can speak.
No, I'll use chatami, whatever, and then I'll just throw it all out.
It's the pots. If you can have a cholent or whatever it is.
I won't do it. I'll have chatami.
Good, but I think it's okay. That's what Lev Chaim's putting. You have to be careful. That's what the place can say. If you have a chametz pot, it can't be sticky. But even the way we do it, so you go outside, you make yourself chashashos of shiyim makom every year. That's like the big shiloh. Because if you eat a half kazayis outside, then you run inside. So computer, you lost your hamoitzi. Unless it's a chatzar, and it's considered cheder l'cheder, the income makom la'achaz. But it creates chashas, and it's certainly Lev Chaim's anchor point is not geshmak. It's not Erev Shabbos. You're eating cold food. It's a zilzal and Shabbos agadol. This is the suit of Shabbos you want to have. Come on.
Why can't the issue just be pasha that it's not it's not Shabbos?
Yeah, that's the pashup shot. The Meiri has like a, you have to see Lashon, very nice poetic Lashon. He says a minute garua she'ina das avalta. It doesn't sound like it's just halachic taina. It sounds like it's just like very weird what you're doing. If you're getting up and sitting down and making a double suda, that's what it sounds like. Okay. Al kolpanim, it's a minig that's been very, very miskabel. I looked in Nitei Gavrila, he always brings all different minhagim. He lines up like, 10 rebbes that do like this and 10 rebbes that do like that, the different chasidus and what the minhagim are. So it's a minig that was very much nisfashet, and it's a minig haroi, but obviously not mechuyev to do it. Maybe it depends how difficult it is for you, and family.
Which minig to break it up?
To break it up, yeah. But come very miskabel. I mean, as far as it doesn't happen too often. Mishpur mentioned he's not so stark about it. He says, "I'm bachreim shekasu." It's another eitzah. It's maganav's eitzah. So it's maganav from. It's the going. The going says.
Instead of the second one, or in addition to the second one?
Yes, I think it's meduik the maganav from. Mishpur is also clear like that. You should have something in the afternoon. We can't have matzah. Ashkenazim can't have matzah shira. So we have payers. Whatever. You have something. You should have something in the afternoon. Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. So again, our problem with matzah shira is a chametz problem. That's the Ashkenazi problem. So you can't have matzah shira past the morning hour. There's man iser chametz sharavis. So ta'aser matzah shira, which is a chumrah, as we'll see, we learn the Hilchos matzahs. Ta'aser that Erev Pesach is not so much. The Noid Yehuda has a tshuva. It's brought in the Shai Tshuva over here. That thinks you shouldn't aser Erev Pesach matzah shira. And the Aruch HaShulchan learns pshat in the Ramah. The Ramah says we don't eat matzah shira. The Aruch HaShulchan says it means it's not aser. You could eat matzah shira. Just since we don't eat it, we just don't have it around usually. So arguably, according to Aruch HaShulchan, that would be an eitzah. So this presents a big problem in hotels and Pesach programs and things like that. That you have to feed. So if you have to feed chametz on Erev Pesach to like hundreds of people and thousands of people, it get very, very complicated. You have chametz all over the place. It's very hard to clean up. So the question of matzah shira for Ashkenazim is a questionable thing. But would it be even crazy to be meko? Moshe has a tshuva in Orach Chaim Kufnin Hey, and Igros Moshe says you shouldn't be meko. It's negative the Pashas the Ramah, and we're choishish l'maisa chomet the Pesach that there is a chash chametz. So for Ashkenazim, you can't have after Zman Isser Chametz, you can't have matzah shira. It says Moshe, fine. So for Shal Shudas, you either have to split it up or have Basar V'Dagim, Peiros, whatever. We'll see there's another eitzah, but it says Moshe, but he's not talking about a hotel. But this would be theoretically shayach by a hotel or by any home. He said, but if you want to eat stam, you don't want to have Friday night and Shabbos morning. You don't want to have the headache of having chametz around, little children around, too many people. You're scared from chametz. It says Moshe, you could have matzah shira the whole Shabbos. Matzah shira again is a by us it's a problem of chametz. So until it's minus a chametz, you could have it, and then you get rid of it just like you get rid of the chametz. Now, out eating matzah on Erev Pesach, it's not a problem because you can't be yotze zayin with matzah shira on Pesach. So there's no problem of bail arusas beischav. You're allowed to eat matzah shira. Shartziyim brings one shita that's the goyin is medayik from Perish Mishnayos that maybe there's a problem with matzah shir even on Erev Pesach in the morning at least, and that's a das yachid, and you see Klor and Mechaber their law weren't bothered by that issue, so it's only a chametz issue. So be'etzem having matzah shir as a eitzah for the whole Shabbos, so Rav Moshe says in the Tshuva that's a great eitzah. Then you avoid all the issues. Now Rav Moshe does point out matzah shir is matzah derech klal. I've never seen it in Eretz Yisrael. I don't know if it's available. I guess it is. That's egg matzah. That it's made kol kuloi with flour, water, no water, flour and eggs. It's all nilush with beitzim, made beitzim. So the meila, that is that has the status of paskisnin, right? There's three ways that bread becomes.
So juice.
Yeah, or it could be juices. Yeah, many made pears. I think the way they do it in Maisa, I don't know if such a thing to make matzah with made pears, but they definitely make.
I mean, natural juice, not reconstituted. Yeah.
Yeah.
You sell them as cookies.
Right.
That's not. So it's not
The
thick.
That's yain.
The cookies are made what with flour and yain, right? Yain, which is has a dinner like matzah shir.
Can I wash on that?
Oh, so we'll see about the bracha. We'll get to the bracha on that. That's a different question. If you're kivei suda, oh, so talk Yigros Moshe. How are you making suda's Shabbos with egg matzah? It's paskisnin, it's zoinus. Paskisnin is one of three things, right? You don't know the famous three shitas. Kuf sam ches siv zayin. Either it's brittle or it's filled with filling, or it's nilush. That is the actual dough doesn't have just water. It has a lot of sweet shemen and dvash and yayin, and certainly here where it's kol kulei dvash. Here it's kol kulei and mepears, whatever it is, whether it's eggs or yayin, whatever. So that's matzah shir. So it's a very main mitzvah. So says Rav Moshe, what's the big deal? We know the halacha is by paskisnin. Once you're kaveh a suda on paskisnin, you have to make a birchas hamoitzi and a birchas hamazon. So say this, so you're going to be yitzazay. So it's not a problem. So the emphasis is that. Oh, okay. So let's. Yeah, maybe. But here, where you have other things in the meal, the question is whether other things have started after the shir kriya suda is questionable. Maybe yes, maybe not. But l'chumra would be, at least that, maybe even more. It's telling the kriyas, the derech of the kriyas. So the emphasis is like this: that in Kuf Samaches, the Shai Tshuva brings the whole nidin nachronim that there's a halacha that Shabbos is kavas l'maiser. That the kviyas of the chiyuv sudas on Shabbos makes it a special kviyas. So then maybe you could even take a mezainis and not be kaveh. I mean, not eat dal beitzim. Let's say the shir is dal beitzim. I just want to have a kazayis. So there's a tzad in Shai Tshuva, it's machlok zechronim, and maybe just have a kazayis is enough because Shabbos is kaveh, and that gives it a status of hamoitzi for Shabbos to be yotzei in your sudas Shabbos. No, I'm not talking about Shal Shudas now. I'm talking about the first two Sudas. For Shal Shudas, we have a problem, because assuming it's after Zmanis. I'm talking about for Friday night and Shabbos day. For Shal Shudas, you wouldn't have this tzad and achronim. You'd have to be Kaveh Mamish. If you're a Svardi, let's say, and you're eating Paskisnin, Matzah Ashira for Shal Shudas, you'd have to Mamish be Kaveh Suda on it and eat Dalet Beitzim or whatever. The cookies, those cookies, I'm not sure if you could Shaykh Derech Kviyas. That's the question, if you could be Kaveh in cookies. We'll see that. So, L'maisa the Shai Tshuva, and that's the Pashas, the place of the Yisradim, that L'maisa Shabbos is not Kaveh, it's no special din. But so fine, it's a regular din of Kviyas Suda, so you have to take your egg matzah, assuming that it's a very many mizonos because it's paskis, then you should be Kaveh Suda. Kaveh Suda means everyone should eat a whole matzah, whatever it is, half matzah, it's easier to eat than regular matzah, it's softer, whatever. So, but that does bring us to a little bit of a side issue, but a very, very choshev issue, and as we'll see, it is kashur to the other eitzah that the place can bring, which is very interesting that the Chaber and the Ramah left it out. That the Mishnah Berurah suggests that you can mekayim suda shlishis. The Ramah says, so the Chaber has an eitzah, you can make hamoitzi, matzah shir. The Ramah says, no, we have no matzah shir, so what am I stuck with? And chicken and fruit. So says the Mishnah Berurah, why? Even according to the Ramah, they have knedlach. You can have matzah mevusheles. We'll get back to the pratim of matzah mevusheles and knedlach, but basically if you take already cooked matzah, and you make what we call matzah meal, which it looks like it's not flour, it's crushed up matzah, it's ready baked. So unless you're machmir for the question of shuya, of eating gebrach, so then you could cook with that, and people do cook with that. And you make cakes and all kinds of different fancy cakes and rolls and even all kinds of dishes. So you could use that. And the Mishnah Berurah Bemis in a few places in Reish Tzaddik and by us, he suggests that. He says you can get some knedlach. Knedlach kipshuta, you're not going to make a hamoitzi. He's talking about shal shudas. But for shal shudas, chod she'ev eitz. So why didn't the Rambam bring that eitz? Okay, so we're going to get back to the matzah mevusheles. But I just want to be makdim that this shaila is a shaila, and that is there's a chiyuv to have suda Shabbos. Is that chiyuv only to have pas, or could you even have pas kisnin? If you're having pas kisnin, could you have pas kisnin without a kriyas or only with a kriyas? Now the Gemara says that on Shabbos you have to go back when you miss Ritzei, and on Yontif when you miss Yalav Yahweh, because it's Ef Shabalavachi. You have to eat pas. That's the Pash of the Gemara. You have to eat pas on Shabbos Yontif Mekayim Sudas Shabbos Yontif. So, what pas do you have to eat? Is pas kisnin enough or maybe not? Very nice if you're Kaveh Suda, you have to bed and eat wash and bench, but maybe that's not enough. So, L'maisa, Sir Moshe writes this for a Davar Pasha. He says, you're Kaveh Suda, it's no problem. Adi, you eat egg matzah, Kaveh Suda, and you bench and you Mekayim your mitzvahs Suda Shabbos, Friday night and Shabbos day. So, L'maisa, it is a Shay on the Poskim, and it starts with the Magen Avram. So, just as a Bekitzer is that Magen Avram, in Kuf Sameches, he's talking about the din of pas kisnin. And he really, Magen Avram has a question, the Hilchos Pesach, bigger question. That one of the pas kisnins is nilush, is like matzah shiur, egg matzah, let's say. So the Magen Avram has a question. He points out that the Rambam is mavur that matzah shira is a problem. Like fishit saramba, matzah shira is only if you put like it sounds like if you put zayin mashkin, if you put chalav or yayin, but to just put mei peiros, Rambam holds you can be yotzi with that. You can be yotzi lel Pesach. Moitzi matzah, mitzvahs, kazayis matzah, below Pesach, Ram holds you could have some juice in there, at least some juice, Pashas even all juice, made bears. So the Magen Ram says it's a stira. How could you say it's pas kisnin? Pas kisnin means it's mezainis. And you can bench if you kaveh suda. But the Rambam says you could be yotzei lechem oini, mitzvahs achilas matzah, below Pesach. That's a mitzvah derais to eat lechem, to eat pas. So what do you tell? So what comes out that if you can tell me it's pas kisnin, that means you're allowed to eat pas kisnin. So the Magen Ram says, then why do you have to be chayzer and benching? The Magen Ram he writes it as a tamir. He says what? So Lel Pesach, imagine it by the Seder. He says Lel Pesach, you can make a mezonus and al micha. You don't have to bench Lel Seder because you could use pas kisnin. If it's pas kisnin, it's mezonus. It can be yotzer zayin. It can't be. So the Magen Ram is stuck on this issue, and the Magen Ram is nichnas to come with the chukim to answer this question. It's stira.
Doesn't Chaber hold that matzah later Zaynus could be like a cracker?
Yeah, that's
So,
a question. On
And
Pesach,
on a regular matzah. Not
yeah. So
the
first of
matzah.
all, their matzah might not have been so crackery, but
Right, but I'm saying our matzah,
Our
according
matzah,
to them,
right,
according
so
to them, they would make
even the
Zaynus.
Svardim that make a mezainis, so on Pesach,
Pesach,
well,
they're
that's
also
their
making
right.
Zaynus.
So maybe you'll be shine here. No, so that's because that's all we have on Pesach. But it's not all we have. Mepears, you don't have to have mepears. So if you have mepears, it's mezainis. So the Pri Megadim on that Magen Avram, he's choylek, like many achreidim, are just choylek on the whole hanach of the Magen Avram, and they say that what you could be yotzer zayin on Pesach, Lel Pesach, you could have something with mepears. So you have a big problem that it's mezainis, so it's mezainis. And the Pri Megadim come out before the here says and pas kisnin zakter the yisoid is pas kisnin pas hu l'chol davar. It's lechem min haTorah. It's chayiv and challah, and even if it's not, that's by zayin mashkim. By not zayin mashkim, it might not be chayiv and challah for other reasons that are totally gilgal, different side reasons. But pas kisnin is pas gam l'chol davar. We don't wash and bench on it without kriyas. That's a different din. That's a din since it's not the derech l'kvoya alav. So you yotze the din Torah of chalta v'svata v'erachta with al michi. We're not machayiv you ganze berach samazon. That's what you need derech kriyas for. But mitzad etzem ahus of this stuff, it's regular. It's lechem gomer min haTorah. And mimela, they point out that there's no problem even zok the Pri Megadim to be yotze zayin Lel Pesach achilas kazayis matzah with something that's made with mepears could be mezainis and chanami. Why do you have to go back in benching? So many of the poskim say the Pri Megadim is mashma like that, and the Graz says that in Kutra Sachar and Kuf Sameches he says chanami because if you want to be yotze Sudas Shabbos and Sudas Yontif with pas kisnim, with matzah shira, with egg matzah, so you have to be kaveh suda. And once you kaveh suda, you have to bench. And once you bench, you have to go back if you forget ritzei, which is what the Igros Moshe said. Just time for Davar Pasha Klach Riyad. He's basically just quoting what the many achreidim say against his Magen Avram. There's no such hanacha that it has to be birchasai hamoitzi milchatchila. It has to be pas. It has to be lechem and pas, and it is pas kisnin, pas ikri. And that's what the Graz, and there's a minchas chinuch like that answers in Mitzvah Yud that answers the Magen Avram's kasha. Oh, so Kipshuta, the Graz, to answer the question about benching, says, yeah, it must be it's with Kriya Suda. And when you are Kaveh, now the emphasis the Pri Megadim says, Lagabe Matzah, Achilas Matzah, it's even there, he says, Kazayis Matzah. Kazayis Matzah, you ate a Kazayis, so what the Torah said is Lechem Oini. As long as you don't have a problem with Matzah Shira, so you didn't use wine or whatever makes Matzah Shira, you ate a Kazayis of Lechem Oini, you're going to design your Chiyav even without a Kriya Suda. By Suda Shabbos Yontif, the Graz says that it's only with a Kriyas. The Pri Megadim seems to be a little bit something about that. The emes says even that is a big machlokes achreidim. And the Graz Pella, the Graz in Kuf Samachet says that. So what's with this? How could you be yotzi with pas kisnin? He says it means when you're kaveh suda, so then you'll have to bench. In Kuf Peches, there's a little gillion on the side of the grass. And throughout the Shulchan Aruch Harav, there's some ha'aras from his brother. The gillion in Kuf Beches, it says, Kuf Beches is the dinim of going back for Ritzei and Yalv if you forget. So he says, Shamati from the grass, from his brother, from the Palatanya. B'soif Yamav, he was Chayzer. And he said that no, you don't need to be Kivei Suda. You could be Yotzei Suda's Shabbos, Yom Tov, with Pasba B'Kisnin. Just like the Pri Megadim said about Achilas Matzah Lel HaSeder. This is all Chidushim the Flan, that's what I say. But Zokter, the grass, he said he was Chayzer. He said, what about Me'ina Ma'ira? Oh, okay, 1 second. So he said, what about Me'ina Ma'ira? So the grass said in his Chazar, B'Soif Yomov, well, you have to make Al Michya. In Al Michya, there's a Me'ina Ma'ira. And you have to mention it. And if you forget it, you'll go back and Al Michya. And that's the key what the Gemara said. It's pas, and there's a benching, azai, and you have to go back for that. And the Zer Emes has a tshuva. Zer Emes was a kadmon, this was a few hundred years ago. The Zer Emes also has a nidin about the shayla. He says he thinks you could be yotzei, pas kis, and it's pas l'chol dover. The fact that you need to be kaveh to make a berachas Muslims is a zaytik adin that's totally in brachas. And chutz from that, you could have even pas kisnin for kazayis matzah, for mitzvahs suda Shabbos. You know that's even without benching. So what Eli's pointing out is that's going to make a big nafkamina. Something that I think everyone assumes is not the halacha, and it's tzarechim, because I do believe that this is be'emes, what I'm about to say is not halacha. And that is that if you go to a kiddush and you make an al michya by the kiddush, Shabbos morning, and you say ritzei, in the kiddush you say ritzei v'chatzenu, and then by Shabbos suda you forget ritzei and benching, so you don't have to go back, because you're already yotzei to suda Shabbos. So that's not the halacha. Everyone knows that if you forget ritzei, everyone's the stipul has a whole shtickle about this in brachas. But l'chayra, the halacha pshuta is that even if you went to Kiddush in the morning, you have to go back. So why? If you're Yitzhak Zayin. So Elamai, maybe we're just naktina, maybe not like this time. Maybe we hold that you have to be Kaveh Suda, you have to eat a shir kviyas, at least for Suda Shabbos Yom Tov. But for Kazayis Matzah, the Pri Megadim seems ganz klar that no. Now that is the Pri Megadim in the Eishal Avram. I'll be honest that Chaim pointed out to me, we discovered in the Mishpatzos, he does have the other side in this whole sugya. And maybe pas kisnin doesn't have a shame pass, and the benching is only the rabbanon. I ain't showing the mishpatzos as well. But the Reva Poskim and Chaschinach and the Graz and the Zer Emes that are going to this Pri Megadim over here. So it's mashma that has a shame pass, and it's even a question if you have to be kvei sud or not. So, okay, so let's just back. So nachshel and yaneinu. So where are we holding? We're talking about minig B'nai Ashkenaz, that after Zmanis or Chometz, we cannot eat matzah shira, because it's a problem, Chometz like a problem. But Dr. Moshe, for the rest of the Suda is great, it's pas kisnin, so what? We even have a shaila, if you have to eat a whole shir, just make a ala michya. Lo shamanu. Everyone knows if you want to be Yotzei Zayin, halach al mais, you want to be Yotzei Zayin Suda Shabbos Yom Tov, you have to wash and bench. Fine, so you eat enough egg matzah to wash and bench. It's pas kisnin, being kaveh and pas kisnin, so what? About the Yotzei Zayin, Harei, the Pri Megadim says kipshuta even for like it's Meforsh in the Rambam. There's a few rayos to that even pas kisnin for kazayis matzah you can be yotzei because it has a shame pass. And that brings us to the next eitzah, back to the Shalshos, that we can't have matzah shira because of the problem of chametz. The Mishnah Berurah says right here that he has another eitzah, and that's from the Chayodom and other poskim. Yochel l'kayim betavshil k'goyim k'nei l'ach. That you can have Shal Shudas even after Zmanis or Chametz, before Shah Siris. Again, after Shah Siris, that's time you can't have any Hamin Dugmas, you have to have a Teyavon, you have to still have an appetite. But in the early afternoon, after Chatzos, when it's Zmanis or Chametz, you can have Knedloch for those who eat Matzah Shruya. So then it's just like a brachs issue. So you could take Kamach Matzah, meaning ground up Matzah, and make Knedloch out of it. And that's Matzah. So now, why do you have a problem of matzah from Erev Pesach matzah? You're not allowed to have matzah on Erev Pesach. That's halachim fresh as the Gemara Daf Mem Aleph. Matzah, which is cooked, which is actually cooked meaning in water. It's derech bishul, not afiyah, not baked. So something which is cooked is mafkia. It passes matzah from kimitz matzah. This means like this. Even if I take a whole matzah, I put it into boiling water, I boil it up on a kli rishon, and I cook it, the bracha is still hamoitzi. It's less Torah Lechem, it's more than Kazayis, doesn't even need Torah Lechem, so it's still Birchas HaMoitzi. But it's Matzah Mevushal, so you can't be Yotzei Zayin Lel HaSeder with it. Why? Matzah Mevushal. Forget, before the Knedloch, I'm going to read the Sharetzin. Matzah Mevushal, the Gemara says, you cannot be Yotzei Zayin. So the Sharetzin says, L'chayr there's an eitzah to use Matzah Mevushal. The Magen Avram suggests this, he actually brings from the Maharil suggesting this. What's the, what? No chametz. I take a piece of matzah. If you take French toast, whatever, you take a piece of bread and you cook it, or whatever bread that you cook. A whole matzah. Yeah, 10 kazayis. So you have a kazayis. So then l'char it's an eitzah. So the Magen Rambam already says that the Maril had this question, meaning the Ramah is telling you to eat apples. Why are you eating apples and chicken? Why don't you just wash and have a suda? And maybe the real reason was kibbutz. We'll never know.
Doesn't it have a Torah lechem?
What?
Doesn't it lose its...
So more than a kazayis, it doesn't even need Torah lechem, but the emphasis is that Lav Dafka doesn't lose the Torah lechem. You put it into boiling water for a minute, you flip it, but the Lamaisa halacha is even if it loses Torah lechem, it's more than a kazayis, it doesn't need Torah lechem. And it still blives hamoitzi. So the Magen Avraham says that the Mariel said it's a grade 8, so just the minig is not like that, so we don't do that. Now, we can understand, I think, why the minig is not like that, because the whole Indian of this Isser, of Bailar Sas, this is a Rabbanon. So meaning there was a higayom. They had a reason to not let you eat matzah Erev Pesach. And the reason very simply was because we want, just like we don't eat anything after Shas years, we want to come into the mitzvah, that's the idea. They should eat the matzah, the teyavim. They didn't have matzah in a long time, so we have a minhag to extend this minhag even back to Rosh Chodesh, or to 30 days before this minhagim. So I think our chava of that is that not to have something that has tam matzah, even though it's cooked, and maybe it's possible for kiyam mitzvahs matzah, and that's the famous Claire, famous Chakiri, famous Lamda Shakler, that they say, why don't you just, I have another Eitzah, if you're allowed to have matzah Erev Pesach, you can't be Yotze with, just make matzah loy l'shmo. And you can't be Yotze with that night, you can eat by day. So that's really the Marshal's question. The Marshal in the beginning of Erev Pesachim says, why can't you use B'teika Shogoyim, Erev Pesach? He says, because tam matzah. So that's a pirchot what I'm saying, because matzah muvushal, the Gemara says the reason it's no good is because it doesn't have tam matzah. So as I'm saying, that's why I say it's only a minhag. But the minhag still makes sense, because I don't argue with the Gemara. Even though it doesn't have, somehow the tam matzah is baka, but everyone could just imagine for themselves what would happen if you took some matzah and boiled it in water for a few minutes and then you tasted it. Practically, you're going to get some kind of shmek of matzah, right? There's going to be some kind of tam matzah. So the Gemara's kaveya, that's not called tam matzah. So you can't be yotzei at night. But the klapi to be noyeg, that it should be a minhag, not to touch matzah, Erev Pesach, just because you boiled it. So that we can understand. So that's the minhag, not to have matzah muvushal, which means to bake off it. Says the Mishnah Brura, but that's only matzah, that's a big piece of matzah that you cook it, that you can't use. But kneidlach, and in the Shartzian, he brings from the Chayodam also matzah brai, even metugin, muvushal metugin, so that's okay. So, what's the pshat? That this is yes okay. So mitzad the minhag, because it totally loses its tzura, it means you took matzah meal and you put it with eggs and oil, so mitzad the minhag we understand. Why medina is not a problem? Because it's matzah mevushal. It's matzah mevushal, so it's mafkia the Torah's pass, and you can't be. It's not whether or not it's mafkia the Torah's pass, but it's matzah mevushal. It's matzah mevushal can't be yotze with. We have a minhag not to eat matzah mevushal, whole matzahs, but kneidlach. So the Mishmur Taki says the good eights and Reish Tzadik Aleph. Mishmur says eat the mitugenis matzah bra. He says that's what you should have for shal shudas. So that's the really gewaldige eitzah. If you're again, you have to cheshbon. It's before it has to be before shal asiris, and it has to be. You have to be, that you eat kedlach. So how much are you marviach already? What? After shal asiris, you can't have himini dog. You can't have kazayis of any mizayis.
Even
matzah. After shal asiris.
Because of tam matzah?
No, nothing to do with matzah. That's just the din of not eating that you should be hungry, pashat, for...
Even the Mishnah does use the same lashon, that yes, to be the ta'avoin, but just focus on ta'avoin.
For the suda.
For the suda.
So
someone can make matzah rolls that are hamaitzi. It's like the best thing to do.
matzah rolls that are hamaitzi and have them before shal asiris.
Yeah, that would be the best thing to do.
Oh.
You make some matzah meal with eggs and you bake them.
So it says with Meir, we can make matzah rolls. And that is not correct. Because matzah rolls are made in the oven. So if I take matzah meal, piruri lechem, which is ground up now.
But I added eggs.
One second, I know what you added. I take matzah meal. What is the bracha of matzah meal? Ground up bread, even if you grind it up very fine, you make breadcrumbs, what we call matzah meal is breadcrumbs, that's really what it is. It's matzah crumbs. So it's hamoitzi lechem min haaretz, because even though you ground it up, it still retains its bracha. The only way to get rid of a bracha of hamoitzi from little crumbs is either to cook it, or to soak it in water until the water is mislabi, and that's taisus and shulchan aruch kuf samachet. But if you take it, and even if you're niloshit into a whole concoction, so Tafayin Aleph, the Ramah says, if you take matzah mifureres, matzah shenefa ketikna v'achkach nespara, you make matzah meal, then you loisha b'yayin v'shemen. And then you make a nice kishmaka rolls with yayin and shemen, very sweet, paskisnim, whatever it is. Says Says the Mishnah Berurah, that's whether you're eating it as is, just popping it in your mouth without baking it, or if you put it in the oven. Putting it in the oven doesn't help change anything. Putting it in the oven, all it does is, it's more afiyah. Afiyah doesn't, it's not mafkiyah shem pas, afiyah is it adds shem pas. Asks your mayor, what do you mean? It makes pas kisne. So the emphasis, that's a big shayla. What is the status of this roll? That you take matzah meal and you make chocolate chip cookies. You make cookies, let's say, yeah? You make, forget about the rolls. I'm just taking the shayla all the way to the end. You make mamish sweet cake cookies. That's what people usually do with matzah meal. They don't usually make rolls. So you make cookies. So l'chayra, it's mamish pas kisne. So the Mishnah Berurah says over here that if you put it back in the oven, it's also the whole day. So in Shmir Shabbos, Kol Chasa, and Chelik Beis, Perek Nun Vav, Har Nun. So he says, this must be talking if you put a little shemen, put a little yayin or whatever, not a little tvash. But if you mamish make it sweet, then it's pas kisnin, and that's the psak of the Mishnah Berurah. Because the Mishnah Berurah in Kuf Sameches and Hilchos Brachos, he says that if this idea, if you take breadcrumbs and you knead a lot of shemen and zach and all kinds of things, then even if you put it in the oven, harei becomes pas kisnin, right? I mean, if you take breadcrumbs and you make a cake out of it, the Mishnah Berurah paskins, not pashat as we'll see, but it becomes pas kisnin. So, va'ani oimer it's not a geir b'chal, it doesn't make a difference. It can be pas kisnin till tomorrow. You still can't eat it the whole Pesach day. Even if it's sweet, kipash the Mishnah Berurah. Because what did you help? You made pas kisnin, but like we saw, that's a prima godim. It's pas gomer. Pas kisnin is pas. You make mezoinus and alamichil, lo mishaneh.
If mevushal is enough to be mafkir,
Mevushal takes off the shame pas. Mevushal is always pas. Mevushal is a tavshil. Tavshil doesn't have shame pas. It means that you can eat 25 bowls of noodles and 25 knedlach. Ben is a big shine. The paiskim, when I can get into that now. But the Magen Avraham held knedlach are hamaitzi. And the Maram Shik in his tshuva says that Rabbi Hagadol, Chassam Sofer, was makbid. He told him in the kitchen, you're making knedlach, it has to be less than a kazais. Because he was makbid. That knedlach is a question, when you put it back into a knedel, maybe it's like it's a new piece of bread. And then even if you cook it, that's the Magen Avraham Shita, the Peldik Shita. We don't pass like that Shita. The Magen Avraham was Choshish. The Chassam Sofer was Choshish for the Magen Avraham. The Graz held like that. But Al Kol Panim, Nachshon Yinei. So you have matzah chocolate cake and matzah cookies. It's a pellet. You can't eat it the whole day. And that's what the Mishnah Berurah says. I see here on the side in the Dershowitz, they bring a few different places that say that as well. And l'chayra, we would ask what kind of crazy chumrah is that? I mean, you're allowed to have matzah shira. You're allowed to have egg matzah. Why are you allowed to have egg matzah? Because it's matzah shira. Because you can't be yotzei on Lal Pesach. So what? Chocolate cake? The teretz is I don't recommend it. But the Mishnah Berurah says ina kedai to be yotzei Lal Pesach. I don't suggest you go haseba, take out a piece of chocolate cake for matzah meal Lal haseder and be yotzei. But it's a tzad gadol that you're yotzei.
What's the challah to matzah shira?
This is not matzah shira. This was matzah gemura because it was baked as regular matzah. Now you're right. That's one of the many reasons you can't use it for mitzvah matzah is because there is a tzad that when you redo it, it becomes matzah shira. But it's not klar because it was already shem matzah. So the mashal is if you take a piece of bread and you put a lot of peanut butter and you mush it up with the peanut butter, it doesn't become ice because it was already bread. So that's really what you're doing. You're taking bread and you're mixing it with a lot of gishmaka things, but the bread is still in there. Unless you cook it or it's malabin hamayim. Akidei kach that I saw in one sefer in Shari Bracha, that sefer, so he brings b'shem Igros Moshe, that's not in the Chuvas, that Moshe held that all these cakes, the matzah meal cakes, that even they're very sweet, chocolate cake, he held it's not pashut that you should be saimich to make a mezainis. Mishnah Berurah passing this mezainis, klar, comes past kisni. So I'm just saying like this, there's two shlavim. Mitzad Erev Pesach, it's Asher Gomer. It's Asher Gomer because it's mamish meikra din. There's a tzad gadol. You can be yotzei zayin moitzi matzah with such a thing, as crazy as it sounds. Lagabi the etzem bracha stam. If you eat the brachas and you want to have a piece of, if someone gives you a piece of matzah cake, that's chocolate cake. So meikra din Mishnah Berurah paskins, yes, it's mezainis because it becomes paskisim when you re-neelish it with the thing. It's azoivi that halacha that when it's malabing the mayim and it loses its tayr lechem. There's a lot of pratim about that. An oizer can't go into that now. But Lamaiser Moshe says that the medaktikim they won't eat that cake and they won't only eat it only during a suda because it's not clear that you're mafkia the shem pas because again there was no bishul. Once you're lacking bishul, so bread is very chazak, very strong in holding on to its shem pas until you do something. That's related to bishul or something else. Now, Meikar Din, Mishnah Berurah says it's okay. So that's okay in terms of eating matzah cake, but for Erev Pesach, if by the siyam and b'chayra someone serves matzah meal chocolate cake, that's an issur d'rabbanan to eat, and that's boiler sauce of beis chamav. So that would be asur. These cookies, however, are better because those are matzah shira cookies. Meaning, there's a certain kind of cookies they sell there. They have like no hechsher, or like one, no one wants to give a hechsher because it's mamish. It's made with flour and yayin. That's the.
So what's the
Maybe Ravadi gives an hechsher. It's the side that made matzah shira. What? Flour. Flour, not matzah meal. Right? Matzah meal makes it much worse because matzah meal you're holding by matzah. So maybe because paskistim, it's all what you can be masheke matzah shira. That's ready. Dina gemara klar it's oisla chamayim. So we don't eat it, we don't buy it, we don't have it. We the Ashkenazim don't buy such things. But if so if you want to bring the chocolate cake for the siyum for b'chayros, it's mamish it's a gomer you buy it as bischam. Better is to buy the Ravadi cookies that have flour and yayin. The reason why they don't have a hechsher that you would normally eat is because it's matzah shira. Of course, no one's gonna get a hechsher with matzah shira. But and that is klar mezainis, and it's berchasai for sure mezainis, as opposed to the cookies that Moshe says we're makel to make a mezainis on matzah cake. But this stuff is much more mahudin, at least for Erev Pesach. For a Sfarad, it's much more mahudin because it's a glata mezainis. You don't have to worry. There's no tzad in the world. It's a regular paskistin, like it says in Kufs Namaches. You make regular wine cookies. So mela. That's taka seder for Erev Pesach, and even for Ashkenazim that's okay as long as before this man is chametz. The Sfardim can keep going until Shas Siddur can keep eating.